I needed something like this. Hadn't talked to Carlton in years, so it was just like, and it's not about what I did. It was just like, you know what? I'm not going to not say it. I was talking about him in a room, and I said, you know what? I'm going to tell him I was. I am passionate about business, and I lost both parents last year. And at one of the things, when you live in a town of 700, I always joke, like when you live in a town like Indianapolis, and you know, we got 1 million or 2 people, and you go to a funeral, we got 200 people at a funeral, and that'd be, you know, a lot of people. But when you grow up in a town 700 people go to a funeral, right? So it just, everybody kind of shows up because everybody knows each other. And a whole high school teacher named Carl Bazzino just birthed my passion for business. And I had not seen him in years. But of course he showed up to pay respects, and it was a memorial thing. It wasn't the actual funeral, it was a memorial thing. And at the town library. And so I told him that story. And he goes, man, you know, I wonder as a teacher, did I really have any impact sometimes? And I'm like, I've been teaching him for 40 years and so forth. And he was just all fired up about that. And at the same time, I decided to walk up the hill I lived on, and I played trumpet in school. And I remember sitting with my music teacher, Lee Harrington, in his garage where he had a little studio. And I remember vividly the day when I was just could not get it right. And I finally just was in exasperation, and I can't do it. And I was probably crying. And I was probably 10 years old or 11 years old. And then I remember him giving me this almost like I had my father, so it wasn't a fatherly thing about can't, and really helping me, yes you can, and pouring into me, yes you can. So I walked up the hill to his house. He had died, but his wife was sitting there, and I told her the story. My son was with me, so I told her the story. And so I didn't express it to Lee. I just felt like, I want to tell you something about your husband. I said Mr. Harrington, even though I'm 53 years old, Mr. Harrington. And you know, it was just a sweet thing, and you know, her husband's gone, but it was something you can do. So I give you those examples. They're personal ones from just sort of an eclectic combination of things in my life. And but I want you to be thinking over the next 40 minutes or so, because I hope that will jog some thoughts for something specific. So same groups. I want you to spend maybe just 5 minutes this time. And we'll probably pop these out. Think of different contexts of which you do life, right? Could be through school, through church, through just engaging in the marketplace. I can do a lot of my work through the marketplace, family and friends, or just life in general. I want you to kind of focus on what are opportunities to show appreciation. This could be specific people, or specific type of people, or so forth. You came up with some ideas of how to show appreciation. Now I want you to think of who are opportunities to show appreciation to. And it can be very specific and personal to you, but it also can be more general. So spend a few minutes, same thing.
People who are in your life are taking the day out.
Okay.
I mean, there's pretty much no what you could say.
I just have all the writers singing
So
over
you
there.
got
So
anything at all? Things context. I'm not.
Yeah, this would be good.
You said opportunity. It's literally, like what are some opportunities?
I'm not really.
Yeah.
No, that's school.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. If you think of anything else, take up the words.
Yeah, and I just,
So throw that out at the school.
and myself, I sent it to myself.
Okay, so there's your house,
Church, probably my
people
pastor.
in your house, there's
Yeah.
your work.
Like Tyler said, people that are around you all the time on a daily basis.
Anything, anybody.
It's a wild card. Pick whatever you want.
By the way, whoever ends up getting the Rocket Book has to pay me $2.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we all are here at AU, so we can always show
Selling it.
people that are improving our lives.
People that give us encouragement when we need it.
Oh, Andy.
Wait, what?
People that we look to for wisdom.
Was it my turn?
Yes.
Okay, so we have instructors, teachers, coworkers,
Mentors,
mentors,
exactly.
parents.
What does the marketplace encompass?
Work.
Business,
Just
work, but it can be engaging in, even in commerce, so out amongst retail and other things.
Trump, obviously.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking
Obviously.
You know, that boss that gives you that great opportunity to
How about nobody?
Once
Nobody.
say
Probably the
that we should
closest friends I have here. I appreciate them the most.
I was thinking the same thing.
Okay, Caleb, sir.
Alright. I'm gonna get around there.
I think you did, alright?
someone
You're just like,
show appreciation to is
When I come back to life.
hey, look at me.
not
Family and friends, that one's pretty
And I'm
self-explanatory, just
so
all of
any
them.
energy that I had in my brain was.
the opportunities he's giving me.
Back to life, because I'm having a hard time thinking of one for this one.
Can I say something that just came to my head before I forget?
Does that one not count as family?
This is pretty specific, not to me, but for other people. Say you had somebody like a parent or somebody pass away,
No, I named,
and
like,
somebody
every single person
steps
I
in
know.
and takes that position. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like
So a role model.
a role model. Or yeah, that
Really good one.
yeah.
Okay.
Here, accept the next one.
Okay, so for marketplace, I would
Maybe
say
a little
either
pretty
for-
specific,
Actually,
God.
come above, yeah.
So many times we forget that he's always
School,
there
I'd
for us.
say,
That's why this negotiation.
church.
Sacrifice that
I
version of
say
it.
honestly.
Hey, Joel?
Wife.
What's up?
You gonna put
I,
that as a
wife.
secret?
Okay, there's just this.
My
There's
life.
this random person. And also.
Specific person to me, Donald.
What about
Seriously,
Um,
just random
no,
stuff.
no,
Like, just like random people that, I bet, like people.
I have to
your
say
age is not gonna know their name, but they don't
probably.
really know the names they do. So people like that, and then
Well, I
family,
mean,
friends.
people around me all the time, my family, friends.
Wow, not even your own family.
I said my mom.
Well,
You know what? You.
I mean, I kind of.
Okay.
Wait, are we
I
supposed to?
don't.
Parents, mentors, parents.
These are opportunities. Yep.
God.
Okay, Aaron, Karen.
Okay, let's, and you, if you have some more when we're just, I just want you, I'm not gonna go around this time, I just want you to pop some out to me on, you have opportunities to show appreciation, and it could be anything, it doesn't have to be these, I just use this to jog your thought process as to where you kind of conduct life. So just throw out some ideas.
Mr. Beer Wagon.
Mr. Beer Wagon? Yeah.
Oh,
Real name.
Am I
That's
the
all right, I didn't know Rocket Book, I don't know Beer Wagons, that's all right.
Am I the only one who never thought his name was weird? Because everybody I tell that to, it's like, is Beer Wagon really his name?
I didn't think it was weird at all.
I'm sorry.
I'd say in marketplace for a lot of us, it's not our mentors at work, but more like our mentors who have helped us on like one of our passions. Like so there's people who have helped me with Junto, which is something that's like business. So I'm saying like just people who are experienced in a field that you're passionate about, and then going and asking them for advice and guidance.
Okay, so the ones not just at work, but people along the way, or that you draw out to.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm gonna leave that as a big category, that's a good category.
God.
Huh, God? Who else?
Teachers?
Teachers?
Parents.
Parents?
Coworkers.
John Winsler.
Oh, what?
So Jake stole my answer.
Why though?
What's that?
Coaches.
Coaches.
Because John, you're a gift.
John, you were blessing the promised land.
Pastors?
Okay.
Donald Trump.
Hallelujah!
I'm rescinding my answer.
The Donald.
The random people at like gas stations and restaurants and stuff who you might be a regular at and just that they know your name.
And Goodwill.
Yeah.
Yeah, random people,
Random
you know,
people.
Walmart to
Jake
Speedway
from Steak and Shake, Austin from
Yeah.
Casey's.
Chick-fil-A.
Oh.
all of them, yes.
Alright, so whenever I work at the workhouse, or wow,
Warehouse.
at the warehouse, not workhouse. At my
Workhouses,
job,
they still have workhouses?
our UPS guy
Uh-huh,
will do favors for us. We'll do favors for him. He's just a really nice guy.
yeah, I like that, UPS guy.
Yeah.
Ups guy.
Others,
Clients.
clients?
I also like to people who have become like your second family, so like the parents of your best friends or the parents of your boyfriends or whatever.
Yeah, so people that become second family.
No. No,
No,
specific.
I know exactly who you're talking about, yes.
Significant others can go.
Yeah.
What?
I said significant others.
Invisible workers.
Invisible workers, I love that. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I haven't seen them, but he knows what you're talking about.
People who are literally invisible.
Students,
Students.
grandparents.
Children.
Careful, Lydia.
You know, you laugh, right? So it just made me think of this, right? So I love my children, and they have all their interesting challenges, but I was at a 3-day retreat, and the guys did this thing on anger, and I was like, yeah, that's probably not something I have to worry about, because I didn't at that moment feel like I had anger in my life. And then he starts telling the story about him and his daughter. And then he told the story about his daughter basically went out. She wasn't supposed to go out because the roads were a little bit icy. She went off the side of the road and ended up in a ditch, and it was slow, it was nothing bad. And he was gonna go preach somewhere, and he was like, I can't believe she went out, she knows better not to go out. And so he gets all jacked up, and he's about to go out the door, and his wife saw that he was just riled up, right? And she goes, stop, right? She goes, before you go out there, think about her entire life, and she's probably 20, right? Let's just say she's 20. He goes, the worst thing she's ever done is going to be fixed by a tractor, meaning pulled out of the ditch. And he's just like, ah. You know, and at the moment, he was definitely inconvenienced. Yes, she shouldn't have gone out and should have known better. But then he said, as you think about her whole life, right? The worst thing that happened that he could fix with a tractor, pulling it out, right? And so at that moment, I actually was thinking about my son at that moment, and I was like, man, all the times that I, was harsh with him and all those kind of things. So I actually wrote my son a handwritten note, and I said, if I think about the things, the worst thing, I told him the exact illustration. And so I am, right? I get it. Some parents have some challenges, and they're like, oh my goodness, how could they deal with that? And like the worst thing I have to deal with is my kid maybe, said a snappy word or something, but I haven't had to fix much with anything, even as much as a tractor. That would have been cool, although not with a tractor. But so, yeah, don't underestimate that. Others.
First responders.
First responders. Next time you go, I know that you're not necessarily, but I get, chances to do this. When I see them, I try to pay for whatever they're gonna get. They usually just get something at Dunkin' Donuts or something like that, but they run in the buildings people are running out of.
You say military.
Military, same thing.
Veterans.
Yeah.
The-
Veterans,
Roommates.
roommates.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
They were roommates.
If you got a good one, look, this was something where I received, right? So I had my landlord sent me with this big giant basket at Christmas, and I'm like, I'm the tenant, right? So I'm thinking, why did I get something? All I did was pay my rent on time and that kind of stuff. I did fix a screen door that was broken, because I could fix stuff, right? So I just fixed it, and I said, hey, I fixed it, And then I called her, I said, why did you send me this? And she goes, oh, the previous tenant ripped up all the rugs. This is gonna be disgusting. Went to the bathroom on all the floors, didn't pay for 6 months. I couldn't evict him because the state of Maryland has rules. It's really hard to evict somebody. She goes, you pay your rent on time, and when something's broke, you fix it. She goes, you are the best tenant I ever had. And she sent me this big, basket of stuff and that kind of stuff. So again, she's the customer. I'm supplying to her, and she's named me. It's kind of funny. Yeah, if you rent a property out, having a good roommate or good tenant's a great thing.
Pets.
Pets.
Yes.
And they're not hard to show appreciation. It's just a little bit goes a long way.
Unless it's a
I will
cat.
get home, as soon as I come home, my dog will jump up and down. Yes.
Coworkers on there, but superiors, bosses,
Yeah.
friends, no.
I like my boss. He gives me money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vendors.
Vendors. So I'm gonna show you something that just happened 2 hours ago, and it couldn't have happened at a better time. So there's somebody that's a vendor that has a meeting with me, and in my world, if somebody I don't know is trying to get a meeting with me, they have to go through my assistant, right? Not just a standoffish thing or anything, except my assistant. She texted me, and I'll tell you what it says in a minute. this is at her desk. I haven't had the meeting yet. I only have the calendar meeting for March 6th. So she opens this gift, which is a, just say what it says on the knife. It's a,
Oh my. Handcrafted exclusively for Colin Cavanaugh.
so Colin Cavanaugh is my assistant. There's a thank you note that says, thank you for carving out time to help my team get a call scheduled for Dave and I. Looking forward to working with you further. We haven't done nothing with this person yet, but he got the appointment and he sent her, and she wanted to see if I actually had anything to do with it. I said, I'd love to say I did, but I didn't. So this is a guy who just got an appointment. And it's like a Cutco knife, so just so you know, that's not like a Walmart $9 steak knife. That's like probably a $200.
And just if you want to know how she really feels about it, she's right next door right now.
Oh no, that's Stephanie.
Oh, that's Stephanie.
Yeah,
That's right. I forgot.
that's
Stephanie's Stephanie.
Yeah, Stephanie's-
Stephanie's over there.
Yeah, no, Colleen is, but she's like, pretty cool. I called her. I said, how was that? She's like, pretty cool. So, and the funny thing is, we're doing a thing on appreciation. So clients, vendors, right? That's the other direction.
Receptionist or greeters.
Oh, yes. Amen. I want this to be a little interactive, so I had hired I was in the process of hiring an executive assistant when I first was living here in Indianapolis. We had somebody came in, they were an Eli Lilly executive assistant, had great background. Everybody that she interviewed with, she smoked it. In fact, if there was no other conversation, it was like 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, we were gonna hire, she was supporting executives for years, she had all professionalism, everything, the way she conducted herself. And then I found out from the receptionist that she was really rude to her, and I didn't hire her. So she was the best candidate, we waited longer, and I said, as soon as I found out she treated my receptionist poorly, she never heard, she said, thank you, appreciate you interviewing, but no thanks. So never underestimate.
Is that story Mr. B's book?
I don't know, if he has one, I can just tell you mine. I might have told him that story, but I don't think it's the same one. But it's a true story. I can even introduce you to the lady that he insulted. Her father was my facilities manager, so that was even, would have been even worse if Dave found out. But
Truck drivers.
truck drivers.
Siblings.
Yeah.
Oof.
Not that we struggle with that one
Not
at
at
all.
These are some good ones.
Group leaders.
Group leaders,
Doctors
doctors.
/ medical help, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Accountability partners.
Yeah. Wow.
I said influencers, people in your life that you love, like their best friends and like their family, whatever. Just
So influencers, family. Is that what you mean?
more like, so you have like your best friend and then they their best friend and you know how much like your best friend appreciates that best friend. Wow, that was all over the place.
Your second degrry connections.
Yes.
That's easier for me. So thank you.
Like you know that they're caring about your best friend or whatever.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna use second degree connections because we all know what that means.
Okay.
Whatever she said.
Role models.
Role models. Anything else?
Cohort members.
Cohort members. Because when you've got a good one, you probably always had a bad one occasionally too. Really appreciate that good one. Couple of you are nodding. All right,
I knew it was
let's
coming.
be nice.
Like, she didn't say it. She didn't say it.
Let's be appreciative. So, okay, I want to make sure I manage our time well. So, lots of opportunities to show appreciation, and then you can come up with more. So, the funny thing is, I have two assistant stories. I don't have the one I just told you about, the one we didn't hire, and it was really because as soon as I found out, I was like, ooh, that will not fly, right? And again, you would have never caught it because everybody, all the professional category, resume was rock solid, and then had all the things to back it up. I'm going to give you a tale of two, and I picked a couple of scenarios. Tale of two candidates, tale of two mentees, tale of two suppliers. So I interviewed a different season. I only went through a couple of administrative assistants in 20 years in a company, but I had a situation where I had to hire a new one, and I talked about the tale of two candidates. And I interviewed three people, we were down to 3 people. 2 people were internal. So our business, a lot of engineers and technical people, so casual, right? Jeans and all that kind of stuff, very casual environment. So that's normal dress for us. Now where I was, because I met with a lot of customers and things, I usually dress like this, and I would always have a sport coat and a tie on behind the door, just so we dressed typically in our office a little bit, that part of the office, nicer. Because we had to be prepared if somebody popped in like that. But the general policy in the company was just, everybody here is great, right? Comfortable, relaxed, appropriate would be the only thing that we would require. So with that, I had 3 candidates. The outside one, how did the outside one dress? The outside candidate, and 2 internal and 1 outside. How did the outside candidate dress? Probably. Huh?
Well,
I'm sorry.
Suit and tie.
Yeah, well, yeah, so it was a woman, but it was like pantsuit and that kind of stuff. So very professional, right? Went in very professional. And as you would expect, right? Because they're coming in from the outside, you don't know, right? And most people would do that. They dress up for that. Then I had 2 internal candidates. Realized I see them walking around the building, right? We had a lot of people, I had 2,500 people, but I see them walking around the building, and so probably seen them walking around dressed like everybody in here. One dressed really sharp, like overdressed for her normal work day, and one just dressed like she normally dressed at work. And I don't know why, I couldn't get out of my head. I was like, the one took it seriously, and the other one, because she went the extra effort to prepare differently in her professional appearance, and it made a difference. And the other one still had a job, it just didn't get this job, right? And so it's funny, when you think about it, it can matter. And so as you're, think about things like that, I can't think of a downside to the dressing up and more professional. I can think of lots of downsides to not. And it's just the one that seemed to show more appreciation for just the opportunity to interview, in my opinion. It wasn't that I was in any great shakes, I just thought they took something a little seriously. Mentees, so you guys have mentioned mentees. I have the privilege of mentoring a lot of people. These are 2 real examples. Recently, we'll just say in the past year, and I didn't show the bad example on there, and I want to be very careful, because if I say the name, then I'm like, ugh, so there's nobody in this room. But we have a lot of different programs where we have opportunities to mentor people over the course of a year, sometimes monthly and other things. And so we had a situation where I would pair up seasoned business people with 20-something professionals, and it's an opportunity to spend time with somebody that's been running a business 20 or 30 years, got lots of experience in life, failures and successes and things like that. And they, no cost, right? They gladly volunteer their time. But I had one, didn't show up well for meetings, communicated poorly, didn't prepare, he was a little bit big for his britches. I had what was called, now I don't know if you guys know this conversation. Does anybody know what a Dutch uncle conversation is? No. Okay, good. Go Google it later. It's okay. You can Google it. It's not inappropriate, but you don't want that conversation. So I had what we would call a Dutch uncle conversation with him, because he really did not lean into the relationship and made it almost difficult for the guy I had mentoring him. The guy was not mad at me, but he's like, well, what do you want me to do, Dave? I said, I'll go have that Dutch uncle. And I said, you can have it too. I had many others in this same program. I had 12 people in this cohort, we'll call it. All gracious, thank you, and so forth. In fact, one of them that was in it was just here. I spent 2 hours with him on something, because he's working on a business plan, and I told him I'd be here, so he met me. And then I had this one here, and this is her handwritten thank you note to me. I just haven't gotten a handwritten thank you note in a while. It's in my desk still, right? To give you this context. So I took a picture of it, and if I was on social media, and I'm not against it, so I'm not giving them mad, I just don't have time. If I was on it, I would have posted it and said, wow, just a lost art of appreciation. 2 job opportunities have come up. She needs some people connected with her and what she's doing, and without, she never asked me. I just keep thinking, and when these things pop up, she keeps coming to my head, and I always introduce people to her. And again, it was no tactic or anything, but it just stuck in my head, and I had 12 people through that program. Now, I only have so many cycles of time, but that one that showed that little extra appreciation, it's not even conscious. I don't make a list. I just oh yeah, let's introduce her to this company or this company and this company. And it was subtle, right? It didn't probably take her very long to write that. And this one, it took me a while to notice. This was just because I didn't know. This is a young man I've been mentoring for 5 years, and he got a promotion to director at Belden. And evidently he posted thank you to 4 people that mentored him, and I'm one of them. And so I was like, dang, that's pretty cool. And so I told him Tuesday night, because I mentor on Tuesday night, I said, I'm going to use it as an example. And I didn't protect his name because I think it was a good thing. And then suppliers. you know, as a supplier, there is business. AT&T was our biggest customer, and we got AT&T business every year, right? Got it every year, got it every year, got it every year. But one of the things you wanted to be careful about is appreciate it every year like it was brand new business. I used to tell our sales team, we ought to act like we just won this deal again, because while it was multi-year, you don't want to be that one that just say, oh, we're always going to get AT&T's business. And I've watched too many times where we've lost deals because we know we're getting that one, so let's put all our energy on this new shiny penny. Because like, we don't have this company, that's exciting, let's go get Cisco. I was in the tech industry. And we get so fixated on Cisco, we forgot to tell AT&T how much we appreciate them. And so I think one of our keys to success, we don't have a lot of failures on this one, but there's a couple, and it really was because, oh, well, no, we'll get that one, and we didn't get it. So, thoughts or questions on some of these?
So would you say that part of being part of the market is to appreciate being a part of the market?
So we say part of the market.
As in, when you're being in the free market, let's say, part of being in the free market is to appreciate the fact that you're in the free market.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And from both sides of that transaction, right? I showed you a guy that might become somebody that does something for us, right? But just the way he entered distinguishes him from anybody else. To my knowledge, my assistant has not gotten any gifts from anybody. We get all sorts of stuff once you get business, right? They send you tickets and all that kind of stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. But the point is, it definitely is different. And can you imagine if this gentleman wants to get time with me, the person who protects my schedule and helps make decisions on how to best invest my time, how accommodating will she be to figure something out probably? Because I sense he's genuinely sincere, right? Because I know a little bit about his background, so it's not even whatever you want to call it, tactic. I mean, I sense that this person, because we know some stuff about him, is genuinely sincere. So I want to spend a second here and a word about yourself, though, because I could not talk about appreciation when I'm talking about yourself. I'm not going to do it. So you've probably watched this clip, but you're going to have to watch it again. If you haven't, it'll be good. Wow, that is the tiniest arrow. So this is Simon Sinek. What's that?
Oh, you have Apple, that's why.
Yeah. Let me restore my Apple. So, oh, that's my wife and I on the ATV.
It's enough.
Wow, how do I get this to be bigger? Oh, there it is.
Thanks.
We have a responsibility as marketers to help our clients use technology to
Here?
bring people together. We have a responsibility as companies to offer the people who work in our companies a sense that we're helping them build their confidence, that we're helping them overcome their addictions, that we're going to teach them patience, and we're going to teach them how to build strong personal relationships. We don't have a choice. We have a higher burden upon us. And there's so many little things that we can do that we are failing horribly at. That are so easy. Let me show you one. Can I borrow someone's phone, please? Anyone? Thank you. Okay, there is a subconscious reaction to these devices when we use them. Okay? What if I were to hold my phone while I'm talking to you? I'm not checking it, it's not buzzing, it's not beeping. I'm not even nothing. I'm just holding it. Do you feel that you are the most important thing to me right now? No, you do not. Because there is a subconscious reaction we have to the device. When it is out, it makes the people around us feel that they are less important. So when we're walking down the halls in our offices and somebody says, hey boss, can I ask you a question? We go, sure, what's on your mind? We've just told them they're not that important. Or we can go, sure, what's on your mind? And if you don't have a pocket, find a shelf, put it on the shelf, come back and say, sure, what's on your mind? When we show up to a meeting, or a lunch, or a dinner, with our colleagues, our clients, or our friends, or our families, and we put the phone on the table, we have announced to everyone in the room that they are not that important to us. And by the way, putting the phone upside down is not more polite. My favorite one is with a meeting or at a lunch with someone, that the phone will ring and the caller ID will pop up and they will go, I'm not gonna get it. Oh, so magnanimous. Oh, lucky to eat with you today. Or you just put the damn thing away. You can tell how addicted we are. When somebody pulls out their phone when you're with them, how uncomfortable does that make us feel? You're walking down the street with someone, they pull their phone out. We feel stupid, so what do? We pull our phones out. We're so addicted. Somebody goes to the bathroom when we're at dinner, and when we have to sit there by ourselves, God forbid we should look around the room for 5 minutes. We pull our phones out. Meetings. Awful. What do we do when a meeting happens, right? Everybody's sitting waiting for the meeting to start. Bob's running a few minutes late. Bob's here? Okay, start the meeting. Do you know when relationships are built? All that in between time. Thank you very much.
Had anybody seen that one before?
No.
Yeah. So what thoughts about cell phones for a minute? I want to just get some feedback from you all.
As someone who's kind of left behind usually on the cell phone front, I definitely feel this a lot.
Is that a flip phone?
Yes, that's a flip phone.
So I'm actually thinking of doing it for a month. So I want to hear your story.
I mean, texting is a pain.
Yeah, I get it.
But yeah, there'll be many situations where everyone's pulling out their phones and just I'm sort of I can't really do anything with this.
Hey, you can play Snake on there, right?
No.
Oh wow.
That
So
costs
your phone got games?
9 cents actually.
I think it's something that a lot of our generation struggles with, like this is one of the biggest things we struggle with, and it's really, really cool to see when some of our age doesn't struggle with that, and the older people do like would notice, oh, that person's not on their phone, or that generation is on their phone, just being like different.
Yeah. So there is a generational answer to this. Go ahead.
So I just thought it was interesting when we was talking about putting the phones on tables, because I had a few friends that when we meet for dinner or something, we'd all put our phones and stack them in the center, but it's a lot easier to just keep those in your pocket or purse or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just not a way.
Yeah. No, the heart about why you're doing that, I think, is fine. I think was you're still pointing out to that, but he Simon Sinek is not going to pull punches, right? That's what I like about him.
Lydia had
Lydia?
Did you have something to say?
I don't think so, no.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say the comment about the bosses is really true, because I know when my mentor and stuff is walking around with his phone, you always feel like you're interrupting him. He could be doing absolutely nothing, but just looking at the time or something on his phone, but you always feel like you're interrupting them when they have their phone in their hand, versus when they don't. You clearly know that they're just walking somewhere, and so you have more of a freedom to just say, hey.
Yeah. Yeah, but he definitely pointed out something there. There is a generational. You not having your phone out will speak much more volumes than me even not having my phone out. Though me having my phone out is just as bad as you having your phone out. But I'm just saying, you want to distinguish yourself. I used to tell my son, I said, Matt, Matt and I used to have breakfast. He's 21 now. We used to have breakfast once a month when he was home, and I do it with my daughter. But it was God, guns, and girls. And so we talk about God, we talk about guns, and we talk about girls. And so part of the girls was, trying to raise them right. And I said, son, I hate to tell you, it's not going to take a lot to distinguish